Welcome back to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name is Carmen. Today we've got a reading about somebody that is not really being very clear with you about what's going on, what their feelings are, or how they view the connection with you. And the advice is to kind of pull back a little bit, slow down. Maybe you're ready for something a little bit more quickly than this individual is, whether it's, plans regarding a career or a romance. But there is a reason other than just what they're thinking. We have a third party involved here. So there could be a family obligation, there could be a work responsibility or, last minute request. But we have something else that's going on, and it's a question of whether or not they're going to be able to communicate that to you. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime chime. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Hello, April. How are you doing? If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box, as is more information on how to become a member. Thank you to the current members. I think we will start with, let's go with the noisy tarot and see what else we got for you. What else do we have? Six of Pentacles in the reverse, King of Wands in the reverse, and the Four of Cups. So in other words, if there's some drama or unexpected family problem or, a last minute deadline or order, there's something here where it's like, if you press too much to get this person's time or attention, then it may actually cause problems that you don't really need in that connection. So someone wants to move too quickly, another person is trying to pull back, and they're pulling back because of an obligation or a third party. And it may be misconstrued as rejection, or it may end up being that this person does have to kind of reallocate their energy, and maybe they don't really have the ability to connect in a romantic way or to add this to their plate if it's a job. We have the Ten of Swords and the Magician in the reverse. Yeah, I do think there's this like push and pull. Like, I want to be a part of this, but I also don't know if I can do that. I want to say yes, but also I know this person over here would be mad at me, or I know this other person is going to tell me that it's too soon for a relationship, that kind of thing. Hello, Eric. Hello, Francisco. How are we doing? What else do we have? Six of Wands in the reverse, Justice in the reverse, and the World in the reverse. Okay. We have, I don't know, with Justice in the reverse, I feel like this thing that is distracting, it's an injustice. It's something that has a sense of urgency in finding a resolution. It could be like a domestic dispute. It could be a problem with regards to living situation. It could be, hey, we just had like 3 people quit and I'm going to have to pull a little bit more weight because we don't have people lined up to take control of that. You know what I mean? Thank you, Godzilla. How you doing? Thank you, April. What else do we have? The Lovers, the Knight of Wands in the reverse, and the Five of Wands in the reverse. So this is requesting patience from the individual who is feeling like this is hot and cold. Like, I don't know what's going on. It feels like you want to talk to me, or, you've told me that you want to pursue a relationship, or you've made it very clear that you're going to set aside time, but then, you're not really communicative, or you seem kind of moody, and I don't know what the cause of that moodiness is, right? So you may have a tendency to overanalyze, or you may just be kind of frustrated trying to be patient and wanting to ask for more information. And this is saying just, you know, do what you can to focus on projects or other things around you. With the Knight of Wands in the reverse, it's like cautioning you, because if you are overly demanding or overly curious about what's going on with this person, they may feel like it's just too much for them to deal with altogether. They may also assume that you are insecure. They may also feel like maybe they just don't want to deal with anybody right now. And if you give them their time and space, I feel like they would tell you what's going on anyways. So don't rush them in this conversation. Acknowledge that your intuition is telling you something's up. So you want to make sure this is someone who's going to eventually tell you, right? But rushing that conversation probably leads to a no contact or an ending. We've got the High Priestess in the reverse and the Ten of Cups. This is somebody who is not telling you everything that's going on right now, but it could be because it is a little bit delicate or it hasn't really like been decided. There is still an interest in a long-term relationship, and I feel like they've said that. They just haven't always, well, they have had trouble probably in the last week or two, maybe even up to a month, where it seems like you have to kind of talk yourself out of wondering whether or not they still want to be in this relationship or wondering whether or not they're still interested in you. So let's get a little clarification with the situations deck. Hello, Clarence. How are you doing? Hello, Prabnur. What's up? What else? Intervention, obsession, and magnetic. Okay, so this is, yes, what I'm talking about. There's some urgent matter that requires attention, and I don't know that the person you're interested in, this Magician in the reverse, I don't know that they're able to tell you what's going on, or I don't know if now is the right time, but they're like, this is what needs my attention, right? And then this King of Wands in the reverse, the person who's like, excuse me? Yes, more attention. Yes, right here. Can you tell me what happened? Because I thought that you had told me that you wanted to get to know me. I thought that you had mentioned, you know, that you could see yourself being in a relationship. And then all of a sudden, like, things are changing. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you're upset, or I don't know if I made you upset. This is someone who feels like they haven't gotten an update as to what this person's intentions are or what they're busy with, right? We have reconciliation, come together, spiritual union, soul contract, searching online, looking for info, records, and insatiable, unquenchable, wanting more. I get it. I get it. King of Wands wants more information, wants more attention. Looking online to see if there's any clue that perhaps this person is flirting elsewhere, or maybe even, you know, not being honest about what they've been spending their time doing. And I feel like they come up blank. They're just kind of like, oh, there's nothing here. So maybe they're just very secretive, or maybe they actually are doing what they told me they needed to do. Hello, Mo. How you doing? Alien, telepathic, dreams, songs, children, young, childhood, playful, and desire. So there could be responsibilities pertaining to family. Since we have the children card, this could be a person who is trying to navigate co-parenting with a recent ex. This could be someone who is trying to assist like an elderly parent that is moving elsewhere. Hello, BBY. Thank you for the generous donation. And I hope you continue to feel that you are able to make the choices that lead to your happiest life. If you all have the ability to send a little positive healing and supportive energy towards BBY, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Hello, I am. How are you doing? Hello, Bo. So we're about 10 minutes into the general reading. When we get to about 30 or 35 minutes, I do personal questions with priority to those who tip or donate. So that's a good segue, BBY. If you'd like me to pull any cards for you, I'm happy to do that for you. Otherwise, I do also like to do some freebies now and then for those that have like very spiritual growth related type questions. And thank you everyone who's sending positive energy towards BBY. All right, back at you. So look, there is definitely, I think, some lustful energy behind somebody being a bit insatiable. I want to have more time. I want to get to know you. I want to, be in that relationship, or I want to spend more quality time. But I keep getting like voicemail, or, you're not responding the way that you used to. Well, this person's trying to figure out how to talk about this, trying to figure out what should be shared and how to make sure that it's a respectful thing. That's why it could be for many of you about co-parenting with an ex, not wanting it to sound like I'm vilifying someone, but also, there's maybe some inconvenient change, right? I will definitely do that for you, BBY. Thank you. Hello, Rachel. How you doing? Oh, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. All right, let's get a few from the Jack-o'-lantern tarot. What else do we have? Ace of Swords, the World, and the Four of Swords. So this is something that the Magician in the Reverse has tried to resolve, and I think has felt pretty solid about choosing what's fair as opposed to being petty or anything like that. Whether this is a family situation or like a divorce, child custody, that kind of thing, we have someone who feels like, I've done my best to have some resolution here and be fair. But at the end of the day, there's still some difficulties here, and there's still some things that I can't necessarily share or talk about, or maybe I just need to like have some time where I don't have to think about that, right? Hello, Sosa. How are you doing? Hello, Nice. What's up, Lemonade? Thank you for liking. I appreciate that. So we've got the Star, the Seven of Wands, and the Page of Swords. There's someone who realizes, maybe there's something that I need to make sure that I get done. I've been meaning to clean out the garage, or I've been meaning to reorganize my closet, or, take out the winter stuff and put in the whatever, There's this, okay, let's just put my energy in this and not be too focused on that. And when the time is right, with the Seven of Wands, then I'll get that communication. And if it is meant to be, if, I'm supposed to get to know this person, or if they really do have an interest in me, then there will be some sort of continuation here. I just need to be patient. And that is totally the right approach, because I do see with this Page of Swords there being communication. It's just, you don't want to like drag it out of them when they're trying to focus on other things, right? Hello, Tommy. How's it going? We've got the High Priestess and the Seven of Pentacles. High Priestess is clarifying the High Priestess in the reverse. Someone goes from secretive and I'm not going to like let you in on what's going on, or, I really have to keep you in the dark, to, okay, here's the thing. I have been working on something and I want to make sure that you know what's going on. So this could be a message, like an email or a long text message, or even like a voicemail, right? But I feel like you get a pretty significant amount of information after being deprived of that information for quite a while. This person's just like, okay, I didn't feel like it was right to talk about this, or I wanted to make sure that I understood, what would actually happen as far as my schedule. But here's what I've been kind of distracted or focused on, and I'm hoping now I'm going to be able to have more time to talk to you. Perhaps this is someone who had to negotiate with finances, or someone who needed to get their money right before they felt like they could actually date or be close to someone like that. Either way, they held back on this because there was something else that needed to happen. I need to know what's going on with my ex. I need to know what happens in the divorce case. I need to know what happens with my business. There's something here where it's like, once that is more final, then I feel like I can tell you what's really going on and what I have as far as availability. So now we have someone who's a little more open to being in more constant communication. We have the Empress, the Lovers, and the Three of Pentacles. It's like, I want to bring you in on what's been going on. I want you to feel like you have insight into what's been frustrating me or what I've been working towards. And I also want to make sure that you know that I'm not out here choosing someone else. You're the person that I would like to spend time with. I just needed to make sure that this other thing was dealt with first, especially if it's a divorce. Obviously, it's important to make sure that relationships that might be sprouting up after that breakup don't impact the decision with regards to like alimony or whatnot. We've got the Magician and the Two of Pentacles. So we go from the Magician in the reverse to the Magician in the upright because this person feels like they've been able to satisfy this obligation, address the responsibility, resolve the court case, or, whatever the child custody is going to look like. So now they're like, okay, I feel like I'm better equipped to have this opportunity with you or to get to know you better without being distracted by this thing that really did need more of my attention. This is the Tattoo Tarot. Hello, Hux, how you doing? James, I'm sending you a big ol' hug. I hope things improve for you. There's always new beginnings out there. So we've got Seven of Swords, Knight of Cups in the reverse, and the Four of Pentacles. No more holding back, no more secretiveness, no more I'm in a bad mood. And even though you might be flirting or trying to like get, some sort of confirmation that there's still interest, now you're going to see a change in this person's behavior and their mood because they're going to have that stress or that anxiety kind of lifted off their shoulders. And with the Four of Pentacles in the reverse, it's like, now I can like let you in on what's been going on, what I've been dealing with, because there's been resolution, because there's been something here that has changed. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. With the Six of Wands in the reverse and the King of Cups, there is also something here that this person doesn't really feel went very well. Now, that could be they feel they overreacted, or they wish that, they could be more amiable with their ex, or maybe they're struggling with how their children view them. Maybe this is, my parents aren't really proud of my life decisions. There's something here where it's like, it's complicated. It's not just that I had to do X, Y, Z. It's that there was also some emotional strain and some stress associated with those things, right? Eight of Cups, Page of Wands in the reverse. I do think you're going to get an apology. I think they want to make sure you understand why they had to put prioritization on this, and why it was a little bit uncomfortable for them to give you too much detail. I don't think this is someone who just straight up ghosts you. I think it's more so like, hey, not super available today, but I'm thinking of you. Have a great day. And you're not sure if they're just like trying to like make you feel better about the fact that they're rejecting you, or if there's really just a lot going on. You're going to find out what that lot going on was, right? I hope it improves for you, Hooks. So we've got the Chariot, the Eight of Swords, and the King of Pentacles. Stability is coming through as a more distinct possibility, or seeming like, I've got things figured out. I know where I'm living now, or I know how to set up my schedule. I know what I need to change as far as, post office, bank, all of that. Whatever this person has been going through as far as a little bit of upheaval or change to their schedule, it seems now to be settling down. They know what's going on. They feel like they can plan a little bit better. And with the King of Pentacles, they're thinking about a relationship. I have the curiosity here. I want to get to know you better. I want to make sure that you know what was going on. And I understand if I already like kind of had you know, put you in too confused a spot. You know, I think they're going to be understanding about it if you're like, I don't like how you handled it, so I'm over it. I think most of you, though, are going to be impressed because this person is genuine in apologizing for the delay, but also quite articulate in terms of what the reasons were for how they approached this and how they had to be a little bit quiet about it, especially, again, if there's a divorce involved. But we have someone that did have some limitation or restriction on their communication or their availability. Could even be, you know, like I was helping out my grandpa and he lives in an area that doesn't really have reception. We have Temperance and the Two of Wands in the reverse. So now that they've dealt with this thing, now that there's been this instability and they've found some way to kind of recalibrate and get things to be better than they were before, they're curious to see, is there still some interest on your part, or have you met someone else? Are you uninterested in them now? They want like a status update, you know? Hello, Real Art. How are you doing? Hello, Jasmine. Hello, Abdul. What's going on? What do I like very much? Cheese. Did you know they have to like make sure Swiss has holes in it now? So we have loyalty. This is someone who has not been out here flirting with others or feeling like they found a better person. This is someone who's been thinking about you while they've been dealing with an obligation or a responsibility. And I think when you talk to them, you understand that they do have this desire to focus on you and that they're not interested in like, I don't know, one night stand or like roster type energy. For some of you, this person had to deal with a person passing away, whether that's like a family friend or someone they're related to. If this is for you, my condolences. For others of you, this is about a pretty urgent health event for them or for someone in their family. But I do think it's going to kind of help you understand. Okay, so there was like actually like an emergency, or there was something here that really did deserve to have you focused on that. I don't think you're going to feel like it's just an excuse. Hello, One Love. How are you doing? We've got the Mountain, number 6. The obstacle, the obligation, the challenge. Could be third party in between the two of you, but it seems to me like it's more so like a task or a thing this person needed to deal with. We do have the envelope, which is number 27. This feels to me like there was a message from far away. I had to go, you know, the next state over, or I had to go across the country in order to be there for someone that's important to me. Or that coffin, of course, could also indicate the ending of something, such as the ending of a marriage, right? And now that things are resolved, this person feels like, okay, I can talk to you. Let's have a chat. I want to make sure you know what's going on because I know you probably had some questions, or I know I wasn't really able to tell you what was going on. To you as well. So this is the Voyage of the Soul. How is this person doing? This Magician in the reverse that is now the Magician in the upright. I'd love to see it. They're feeling excitement. They're feeling bold. Now that there is the ability to move, they don't want to be slow moving. They don't want to be patient. So while at the beginning I was telling you, whoever, you know, resonates with the King of Wands in the reverse, where you're like, I don't know what to do, you're not talking to me. You're gonna feel like this goes from quiet and no contact or low contact to all of a sudden this person has all the time in the world for you. And that's because they've been able to cross this responsibility off their list. And this is because they also feel like it's really important to make sure you get an update and you know that, like, as soon as they were able to actually tell you what was going on, that they wanted to. Magic, alchemy, shaman, worlds, orbs, fairies, and trees. And dreams, lucid, subconscious, prophecy, patterns, answers, and journal. Yeah, and then we have the communication card. So this is someone who really did need to make sure that they were there for somebody, or that they addressed something, perhaps in a courtroom, right? Now that those things are addressed, their communication with you is like top order, right? Like first thing that they want to do, because they did feel like there is this magical connection between the two of you, and they want to find out if there is a real chance at this long-term relationship that I think they already told you they're interested in. So definitely looks like they'll be communicating. I want to see if we've got some confirmation here from the untold messages. This particular deck has a card that talks about obligations, so we might see that one come out. Hello, Terry. Did I already say hello to Clarence? I think that was on the last reading, so welcome back if that's true. What else do we have? I'm trying to make a very difficult decision, and it involves you. Then we have baggage. I'm sweeping away toxicity to make room for what's truly important. I would say that applies, right? They had to deal with some things that were a block to a potential relationship with you. And now they're like, okay, so is there a chance that we could, like, you know, begin talking again? Do you still have interest? Or has it been too much time? Are you too upset with me that I wasn't able to communicate? Unrequited. I'm not sure if we both feel the same way about each other. Personal. This isn't about you. I'm working through a personal issue. Hello, Yakima. How are you doing? Hello, Star. How are you doing? We have ghost, sorry, and regrets. I won't stay for very long. I'm sorry. And please accept my apologies so we can move past this. I should have, I could have, I would have. So the fear on the King of Wands in the reverse, probably your energy, could be that you're the magician, of course. This is like, okay, so you're apologizing, you're saying the right things, you're telling me what happened, but are you just going to turn around and disappear the next time that you have some obligation or problem? Or are we at that point where you're going to like actually like let me know? Because you're saying sorry and you're saying maybe you could have, you know, communicated a little bit better, but what happens going forward? I feel like that's going to be a main question for this King of Wands in reverse. Am I interested in still getting to know this person who just kind of like didn't let me know what was going on? Should I be a little bit understanding because they were, you know, going through it? Because I feel like this King of Wands in the reverse has not really let go of the hope that they'd be able to be in a relationship with this magician, even though it has been kind of difficult to figure out how that person feels about them. Unresolved. So much has happened between us in the past. Can we work through it again? So yeah, I know that I wasn't really clear about what was going on or why I couldn't like see you or why I wasn't talking to you, but I still want something. Can we still make it work? Oops. Sorry, I threw the cards everywhere. And then we've got gentle and mask. I'm staying away from you because the last thing I want to do is hurt you. Honestly, I pretend to be someone I'm not because being vulnerable feels uncomfortable. This is the problem that I think is more likely to cause a breakup or a non-starter in the relationship than the hot and cold or ghosting energy. I do think that they can explain this, and I don't think that it's something that they would plan to do again. It's probably just because they didn't know you as well, and it was kind of like an emergency type thing. The more concerning thing is they don't like being vulnerable. So they might tell you what's going on, or they might be better at communicating, but if they're not comfortable being vulnerable with you, that's going to be preventative in terms of you being able to really get to know each other, right? Yes, reading of an avoidant. I would agree with that. This is someone who's like, I didn't tell you what was going on because then you would have known too much about me. So are they ever going to let you get close? That would be the question. They may want this relationship. They may feel like they're falling in love. They may feel like you're their soulmate. You may be really excited and interested in this person. But what you really need to use your discernment for at this point is this person ever going to be able to be vulnerable, ever going to be comfortable enough to show me like some of the more like private elements of their thoughts, feelings, fears, things like that? Or is that just unrealistic, right? Hello, Baby Yoda. All right. Let's see. This is the Earth and Bones Tarot. Hey, Swab, who are you talking about? Would you like to be cleared? You might want to ask a few questions, make fewer assumptions. All right, what else do we have? Knight of Petals, which is the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Crystals, or the Knight of Swords in the reverse, Four of Jars, and the Nine of Petals, or Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. Look, I think this person's going to come back around. They're going to tell you what happened. They're going to sound very genuine, and I think they are genuine. I don't think they meant to hurt you. I don't think they intend to ghost you again. However, I do think you're going to have a little bit of an issue with how long does it take for you to trust me? How long does it take for you to let me be supportive when you've had a rough day, or tell me about the thing that happened to you 10 years ago that you've been thinking about because today's the anniversary of it? Like, are you always going to keep me like in the next room? Such a perfect answer. This card is the Two of Jars, and the Two of Cups, or the Two of Jars, is the one of the love cards, right? Close connection, emotional openness, right? But what do we have on this card? We have two jars with Siamese fighting fish, or beta, right? And they don't really like anybody in their space. I need a whole fish tank to myself, and if you get close to me, I'm gonna start a fight with you. Is this person going to let you actually know who they are? Are they actually going to be... It looks like no. I don't think this person understands how important it is to address that. It feels to me like their priority is, here's why I didn't communicate, or here's what I was doing. That's all valid. But are you actually able to like let me see the emotional side of you, or are you just like a robot the whole time, Because if that's true, I might as well go with, what's the dude from Futurama? Dang it. You can picture him. Does it start with a B? You guys help me out. That's funny. We have the Two of Petals, or the Two of Pentacles, and Judgment. So what appears to this magician as a single problem is in reality two problems dressed up as one. So they may be like, oh, good, I'm amazing. I answered this question, or I addressed this problem. Everything's great. Everything's fine. But if they don't address the fact that they don't feel comfortable with people knowing who they really are, or with that vulnerability, then what kind of relationship are you going to have? Oh yeah, that's my partner. We've been together for 10 years. Oh, of course I know their favorite color. Goals and dreams? No. Should I know that? Huh. But I sure do know that favorite color, you know? We're so close. We talk about everything. We could talk or not talk for hours. Name the movie, I will be so impressed with you. Such a good movie. Granted, my impersonation of the actual, like, actor's voice was subpar, you know? Death, the Emperor, and the Seven of Jars, or the Seven of Cups. So this is about whether or not they're willing to acknowledge that there's multiple things here that actually need to be addressed before they could be in a healthy relationship. Communication is great. It's important that they're able to tell you what happened, but they also have to talk about their feelings and emotions with you at some point, or there really isn't too much closeness you can achieve with this person, right? Like, oh, hey, thanks for telling me what your favorite, I don't know, album is, and hey, I know your dress shirt size or your shoe size, but I know nothing about what makes you happy or what you feel your purpose is, or what you feel most proud to have achieved. Like, none of that. You don't let me know any of that. Then what kind of thing can you actually have with this person? What kind of connection? All right. Let's see. So Jacob, I had a very generous donation at the beginning of my live stream, and I was looking for someone to pull a few cards for. You said you're wondering if she will come back. Let's see what it says. Will she come back for Jacob? I don't often read cards in the sideways position. But we have the World coming out sideways, Knight of Wands in the reverse, Empress in the reverse, and the Eight of Cups. This is someone who seems to have a problem with emotional intimacy, oddly aligned with the general reading here. This is with the Knight of Wands in the reverse and the Eight of Cups kind of flanking the Empress in the reverse. This is like I have kind of flighty energy, or if I get a little bit too comfortable with somebody, or if I feel like I'm getting like dependent on someone, my happiness isn't really there unless I get to be close to that person. Then it's like I feel like I need to run away. So Jacob, there's a song that I associate a lot with this kind of energy. It's by an artist named MSMR, and the song title is Hurricane. So that might add a little bit of additional information for you, but I do feel like this is someone who has to address the emotional frustrations or like the fear of abandonment or rejection before there could be any meaningful like relationship. I do think there's a possibility of coming back around. And it could be that this is before, you know, the healing that's required takes place. But there's also a chance that this is when they have addressed the things that they need to, because we have the Sun, which talks about enlightenment. In other words, you're going to be faced with a time or like a decision, right? Do you want to see what's going on with this person? Have they addressed what they need to in order to be able to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated? You just have to make sure that you're using your discernment in that situation, but there is definitely some work that needs to happen first, so I feel like this would be in the future a ways. That's awesome, Terry. You are correct, Lemonade. That is absolutely from Best in Show. You're welcome, Jacob. Let's see, is there another one? All right, we're going for it. Yakima is asking, I wonder if he's sleeping with a neighbor. Yes. Interesting, isn't it? It's like you can see the neighbor in the distance. Yeah, I do feel like this is not a long-term thing. Someone's already thinking it was a bad idea. We do have a phrase. You don't or you eat. I feel like there's already frustration here, or maybe even they're not seeing each other anymore, but I do feel like it happened. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Hello, Bradley. Hope you have a good day. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the hyping if you're able to hype the video, and I will see you on the next